everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tracy, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I made a flip double foil. That's my best way to describe it. Here's one that I did on white, and I was watching a Jennifer McGuire video and she was doing some offset foiling, and I was thinking about this die that I have not used yet from Pink Fresh Studios, and decided that I would try something here because you know me, I just like to experiment. But what you're going to need to do here in order to get this right is a little bit of prep work. So I like to grab my foils and cut them first, because by the time I have all my machines up here, there's no room on my desk. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to use the actual foil plate to measure my foil. And in hindsight, you don't necessarily have to do this, but I don't want my foil going much beyond my plate because I'm going to make sort of a jig on my plate so that I can get things centered every time. So I will, on the first one, cut these two pieces of foil, and I'll just say that with this first one, I didn't use a shim, and I felt like it kind of underfoiled, so I won't be using it as a card. I'll still use it, but I won't be using it as a card. And we'll do another one, and I'll show you that one later. We're going to do that on black cardstock. So here, just trimming, I'm using my rotary cutter to kind of get a straight line. I haven't found a good system yet. Still pretty new to foiling, so you know, I'll get it. I practiced this quite a bit and messed it up quite a bit too, but even if I double foiled and I didn't get it flipped over proper, it turned out okay. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a long piece of this yellow Spellbinders tape, and I'm just taping it to the back of the plate, and then I'm folding it over so that the sticky's not exposed. Now I don't want it on the front of the plate at all, so I'll have to move it around a little bit to keep it off the front of the plate. I'm just folding it in half because I'm going to be making a line there if I can get this thing to behave itself. Just making sure there's no tape on the plate. And I'll do the same to the bottom. And this is my jig, by the way, and once you've done it, you don't have to do it anymore. And you don't even necessarily have to take it off. So I'm just going to do the same thing, take the piece of tape, fold it over, and just like that. Now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to find the center of that point, and I'm going to draw a line all the way up the tape. Just like that, just so you can see it. I'll do the same on the bottom spot. I'll just draw a line up the tape. Make sure everything's all nice and straight. And sure enough, my garbage guy had to come. Sorry about that. All right, now I've got my jig set. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to place this down on my glimmer machine and turn it on and wait for it to heat up. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to prep our paper. In this case, I'm using a Bristol Smooth, and it's pre-cut down to, I want to say it's about 6 inches by 4.5 inches. And I'm going to just leave it at that length for now. I'll trim it down later. But I'm going to find the middle here, and I'm just going to draw a line right down the middle. So if it's 4.5 inches, then the middle is going to be 2.25. So I've got my line. And I like to take my scissors, and if the piece is longer, and just trim a little at the edge, just in case I can't see my line. Now, there's not a good likelihood because this is the back of the card after all. But now that I've got that trimmed down, I'm going to go ahead and put my foil down on the glimmer machine, and still kind of waiting on it to get hot here. So we'll come back when it's hot. All right, nice and hot. Ready to go. Put the foil down, put the first color foil down, and you notice how the plate is situated, and we're not going to move the plate at all. We're just going to be moving our papers. So I'll go ahead and put that and cover that plate with my foil. It's trying to stick to that little piece of tape there I'm fighting with. There we go. And this is the one, in hindsight, I probably would have done better with the shim. But what you want to do, you want to line up the line on the paper with the line on the tape. And that's the main trick to this. And the other trick is remembering to flip it over the right way. So once I've kind of got it lined up, I'm going to grab some tape, and this is that Spellbinders yellow tape, because I do want to tape this down. I don't want it shifting on me. So I'm going to make sure that's lined up and lay my piece of tape. If it doesn't line up, do it over again. And this tape's a little bit long. I don't want it sticking to the platform as well. Just double checking, making sure I've got foil all the way up to where I need it. When you start moving things around, you've got to take care with that. So I'll put that piece of tape on the top side, on the top right, and then I'll take another piece of tape and I will line it up at the bottom with the line on the tape, the jig that I made. And I'm still not liking the positioning there of that top one. Let me just go ahead and trim it down a little bit. I'll just rip that little excess piece off of there. And I'll just double check, make sure everything's lined up, and we're ready to go. Put my plates down, set my timer, and once the timer is completed, we'll go ahead and run that through my Big Shot. I'm just going to carefully take the platform out of the glimmer and carefully move it over to my Big Shot and slowly run through. I'm going to run it forwards and backwards. For the rest of the video, when I'm doing the run through, I will be speeding that up a little bit just because, you know, we don't need to waste a lot of time watching me crank. All right, lift off the spacer pad and the shim. Pick up the paper, and there's our foiled piece, one side. And it really underfoiled. I did need to have a shim. But I'm just going to carry on because, you know, you've got to experiment as far as foiling goes. But as you can see, you see how that side is the same? I'm going to flip it upside down so that when I lay it on, it's going to be upside down with my new color. So you just want to double check and make sure. And I've done a few where I didn't get them right. My brain didn't flip. And I still got a cool little offset, which was what Jennifer McGuire was showing in her video, was doing some offsetting, which was cool. So I'm going to line this up again, and I still have the same tape on my paper. And we'll go ahead and lay the top down and set the timer. All right, once the timer's done, I'm going to run it through my Big Shot. And again, I'm running it, you know, fairly slowly, making sure that it covers, that it makes that clunk over the whole plate. And then we'll pull this up, and we'll pull up our paper, and we'll reveal our design. So the design came out good. It is just underfoiled. I would still use it for something, but I don't believe that I'd use it for a card background because I'm picky. If anybody's going to be a snob, it's going to be me. Speaking of foiling snobs. All right, let's try this on some black paper. And this is just some black, I don't know. I think it's something I got on Amazon. It's 100-pound paper, and it's black. It's what I have, so we're going to go with what I have. And there we go. It's going to fit on there perfectly. You can make it larger if you want to. You just have to be more careful when you're doing if you're doing it the same size, that you make sure you get your paper lined up with the hot foil plate. So I'm going to take my ruler here again and measure. So this is 4 1/4, so I need about 2 1/8. And I will be trimming this down, so I'm not concerned that it's, you know, perfectly 2 1/8, but I do want my line to be straight. And I'm just drawing that in with a pencil. And you can see it with the pencil. And I will clip the little edges just in case. It's not necessary at all because I can see the line perfectly well. And if you had to, you could use a white gel pen. But I like to use a skinny pencil so that my line's not too offset. And this time I'm going to go in with this sparkly foil, and I'm not going to do all the fancy stuff about cutting it. I'm just going to kind of measure it, and kind of fight with it a little bit, cutting it with my rotary trimmer. Doesn't want to cut because it's the paper that's laying on it is too light, so it keeps just scooching. So I'll just start from here and I'll tear the other side. Don't tear the other side, but it worked out okay. It's not the ideal way to do it. So I'm going to move my glimmer machine where I'm in view here, and I'm going to lay my foil down, pretty side down. Just going to make sure it's all nice and straight on there, although it ends up moving around on you. You live with it. You just make sure that the foil's covering the paper and the paper's on the plate. So I'm going to tape again. Let me just grab two pieces here real quick. I do like to tape it. I don't trust anything to not move on me, because if something can, it will. See, I cut my tape a little bit shorter there, so I don't have to worry about it going over the edge of the glimmer. Okay, and I'm going to lay my plates down, and those are taped together, by the way, and set my timer. Okay, and I did put a shim in there. I put a piece of the Bristol Smooth paper in there as a shim, because I just wasn't sure, because I'd never used this black paper before. So just going to run this through here, and running it through slowly, and it is tight. I can definitely feel the tightness of it because I have that extra shim. But it pays off because the foiling is almost perfect. There might be a little bit of overfoiling that I'm not going to stress over. Okay, I'm going to just stick this back in the platform, and now we'll do the reveal. And the tape stuck to my shim here. I'm just going to remove the tape from the shim. Or move the shim, I should say. There we go. And just kind of mess around with the tape a little bit, not a big deal. And then go ahead and do my reveal. And oh, that's just luscious. I just love it. Okay, so we've got the opposite direction to do now. So this time I'm again double checking that my orientation is correct. And then I'm just going to set this aside. You see how that top corner should go up when you have it upside down, and down when you have it right side up. I'm going to grab a piece of silver foil. It's a silver holographic foil. And fight with the little tape that comes on it, which is just so frustrating. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, because you don't want it to come unraveled, but still, it's frustrating. And this time I'm just going to go hog wild and cut it with my scissors and hope for the best. The main thing is that you want to be sure that you can see your lines on your jig. Yeah, plain old scissor cut there, nothing fancy. You kind of run out of room. Okay, I can see my lines. I'm going to make sure my orientation's correct, double checking. Smooth out that foil and kind of feel for where the top and bottom are on the plate. Make sure I'm getting the whole piece on the plate. And just lining up that the line on the card with the line on the jig. I'm going to put my shim on here. Get this foil out of my way. I got a foily mess here going on. And I'll go ahead and set the timer, and we'll be back. All right, timer's done. Let's put it through my Big Shot. And again, just going, I could have sworn I sped these parts up, but whatever. It's a few seconds. Sorry about that. There are a lot of them, so there we go. Now we sped it up. All right, let's pull this out. And let's see if we got any magic. You ready? Bum, ba, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum. Get that shim out of the way. I can see a pattern. Make sure that I'm just kind of pulling that tape off there carefully. I don't really want to rip my paper. It does sometimes rip your paper, so you have to just be really, really careful with it. And look at that. Just look at that. I mean, wow. Wow. We've got a perfect pattern. We've got perfect foiling. Now all I need to do is trim it down. So I will take and trim that down, and I did trim it to 5 by 3 3/4. And I'm just going to make a little card for you out of it. And so I'm just going to put it, I'm going to pop it up on a black card base with just some foam tape. And then I'll choose a sentiment, and I'll be using a pre-made sentiment because my friend Abraham sent me a whole bunch of really cool pre-made ones. Saved me a lot of work. So, and they look really nice with this foil. So we'll go ahead and get this popped up. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, make sure it's nice and even on there. So we've got a nice black border all the way around. And then I'll grab my little stash of sentiments here, and I'm going to use the Sparkle sentiment. It is done in kind of a shiny black, and I couldn't tell you who makes that one, but it's triple layer. So it's got a shadow layer and a layer around that as well. And I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down onto the card base. That gold with that holographic is just so sparkly. Sparkle just seems to be the right word, right? And once I've got the sparkle down, I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of embellishment here. Right around there. So I have it about 2/3 of the way down the sparkle sentiment. And I mean, you could put anything you wanted, but this is just what I put here for today. And I'm over here looking for some gold sparklies. And I've got some that are from Spellbinders, or no, Sizzix, these big ones, and then I've got some littler ones. So I'm going to use both. I'm going to dump some of these into my little tray here that I got from the dollar store. You get those in the wedding section. I think you get 5 or 10 in a pack. And I'm just going to lay some glue down here, just in 3 spots at the top, and then I'll do 2 at the bottom. Looking for my little wax pencil. And yeah, let's reach in the wrong one, dingus. There we go. We'll do a big one here. And I want to do a medium one, and this one only has big and small. So I'm going to grab from my Honeybee Stamps gold confetti. I'm just going to kind of stab until I get one. I've lost all my other trays. I know they're around here somewhere. All right, and then we'll do a tiny gold one. And then we'll do some at the bottom. Well, I hope you learned something from this video. I sure did. I'm having a lot of fun experimenting with my Glimmer hot foiling machine. I'm, pretty new to it. My friend Michelle sent me this plate, and to be honest with you, I'm not a big chevron fan, so I decided to modify my procedure so that I could get a plaid, like a tartan plaid. Thanks so much for watching. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that sparkle and shine. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing and hit that notification bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good day.